make some people mad today. I know I'm gonna make some people mad today. Listen, I am okay with it. You know why? Because the truth has to be spoken. It really does. And even if people kind of get their feelings hurt a little bit because they live in this area, we still have to tell the truth, you know, because that's very important, I think. Sometimes things are hard to say, but they have to be said. So if you're new to my channel, I want to say hello. Let me introduce myself. My name is Barrett Pastor, and I've been a real estate broker for 26 years. So hopefully I'm coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience, and I can help you navigate this crazy terrain that we call real estate. So we're going to jump right into today's video. Today we're going to be talking about Cape Coral. Now listen, I live in Estero. Estero is not that far from Cape Coral. So if you look at a map, I'll put a map up here, you have from the south, you're going to move through down at the bottom, Marco Island, then you'll cross the bridge, you'll hit Naples. Then you'll come up through Bonita Springs, then you'll come through Estero, then you'll hit Fort Myers, now you're in Cape Coral. So Cape Coral is a city that people a lot of times think, well, I visited Naples. Cape Coral is about 40 minutes or so, depending on where you are going in the Cape. But it's about 40 minutes or so from Naples. And again, depending on where you're going in Naples, but that's a roundabout. Maybe we just say an hour. And sometimes people think, well, my gosh, I can buy in Naples and it's exactly where I want to be. That's the center of the bullseye. But Cape Coral is a rung out. So if you say Naples is the center of the bullseye and Bonita Springs is another rung out on a target, Estero is another rung out, Fort Myers, and now we're at Cape Coral, but we're still on the target. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people will say, I can buy a house in Cape Coral for $400,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool. And if I buy that same house in Naples, it's going to be $700,000. I will drive to Naples. That is a phenomena that I hear all the time. I have met with people that are looking for homes that have done that, rented a house in Cape Coral, thinking that that was going to be the place they want to be because they always visited Naples, they loved Naples, and they couldn't believe how good of a buy they could get in Cape Coral. Well, listen, there is a reason that you're getting that good buy, and we're going to talk about that right now. So I want to start with saying, on my channel, I am never telling you where you should live, you shouldn't live. I am here to give you the pieces of the puzzle, and then you put them together in your world. I am currently working with 4 people who are going to buy in Cape Coral. They see these videos, they watch these videos, they have bought in Cape Coral. I have sold homes in Cape Coral many times. But for me, I feel like you should know the truth. So if the truth in what I'm telling you is something that you're like, you know what, I'm glad you told me and I'm okay with that. You know what, I didn't know that, I'm glad you told me and I'm okay with it. Then you move forward. I'm never telling you where to live, ever. I'm just giving you the facts, pieces of the puzzle. You make the picture, all right? So if we can agree to that, let's jump into these reasons that I think you should not move to Cape Coral. All right, number 1, there is no beach. Did you know that there's no beach in Cape Coral? You might hover over on the website that rhymes with pillow, and you might see all these canals, and you might think, well, that leads to a beach. No, it does not. Now, they have this little section called the Yacht Club up in the Southwest Cape, but that is not a beach. They have a little small sandy section that is not a beach. You are not going to a beach. If you've been to Siesta Key or Lido, these things are not the same. So there is no beach in Cape Coral. Now, can you drive to the beach? Yes, you can. Depending on where you live in Cape Coral, you are going to be about 45 minutes from a beach minimum. But, you know, there's nice beaches to the north of Cape Coral. You got a little bit of a drive, but there are nice beaches to the north, up and down that coast, and you could go over to Fort Myers Beach if you wanted to, but that's going to be a whole lot longer. Even though it seems like it's closer, the traffic is just off the charts on Fort Myers Beach. So there is no beach in Cape Coral. Number 2, the waterways. So let's say you're a boater, and again, you're on that website that rhymes with pillow, and you're seeing all these canals, and you're like, oh my gosh, Shangri-La. I can have my boat in the backyard, I can hang out on my boat, I can jump in it like a car, and boom, I'm out to the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe. Or you have to go through a lock, which is a pain in the... Or you could be in a position where you're going to idle for an hour. Or you could be in a canal where the canal is affected by the tides because it's not very deep. And from time to time in the day, your boat is literally sitting in mud. Or you try to come back from an afternoon on the water, and if you time that wrong, you can't get into where you want to pull your boat behind your house because the tide is low. Also, depending on where you live in the Cape, you can have that situation that as you're idling through these areas to get back to your house, there are other spots that you have to go through where there's either bridges that you can't get under, or there may be, again, low spots where you have to be worried about the timing to get through there. And if it's crowded, if there's a lot of boats going through, it could mess your time up if you hit a storm and you have to stay put for a little while. So to me, if you're going to buy with the intention of boating in Cape Coral, you have to really be concerned with where your home is if you're thinking about boating, because you want to be out to open water as quickly as you can. Number 3, amenities. There really aren't any, unless you consider Home Depot, Target, Kohl's, Dollar General. If you consider those amenities, you're all good. But if you're looking for a really beautiful outdoor mall, something like Coconut Point, if you're looking for something that looks like Fifth Avenue or 3rd Street South in Naples, or even Venice, something that looks like downtown Venice, Florida, that is not there. Cape Coral has a little, what they call a downtown section, but it really isn't anywhere where you're going to find yourself strolling, listening to music. They do have some little bars, restaurants on the water that some people enjoy going to, but in the arc of Southwest Florida, there are many other places that offer a whole lot more. Next one, let's talk about the canals again. You have to be aware of the width of your canal. So when I search property for a boater, if somebody tells me they're coming to Cape Coral because they want to boat and that's how they want their life to be, I always say, have you ever been to Cape Coral? If they say no, then I'm going to say, let me just give you an overview of what Cape Coral is like, and we talk about kind of the lack of shopping, unless you're looking for sort of the regular suburban shopping. We talk about the lack of restaurants, unless you're looking for the regular type of restaurants that you can get anywhere in anywhere USA suburbs. With the exception, there are some restaurants that are different and unique in Cape Coral, but there are not a lot. So we talk about that. We talk about the fact that there's no beach. And then I ask them, what size is the boat? How serious of a boater are they? How do they feel about going through a lock? And also, how do they feel about the width of the canal? Because in those canals that are not as wide, you are literally looking right across the canal into your neighbor's kitchen. Like, it is not far at all. Some of them are very tight. Some of them, if you have a boat dock out the back of your home and your neighbor right across the back of the canal also has one, there's very little room to navigate, to turn around. If you make a mistake and you need to turn around, or you need to kind of draft a little this way or that way, it can really be challenging. So the width of the canal is very important. The other thing is the condition of the seawall. So you might have riprap, which is not that common. There's some of that in Cape Coral, but more so you're going to have an actual concrete seawall. Absolutely 100%. Make sure that seawall is not collapsing or moving or cracking under the water where you can't see it. You cannot stand at the edge of that seawall, lean over and look at it and make any sort of determination. Spend the extra money for that inspection. It is very important. Another reason I would not move to Cape Coral is that there are infrastructure problems. So during COVID, when everything went through the ceiling and Cape Coral was very affordable and a lot of people started moving to Cape Coral and it was booming and growing and oh my gosh, look what's happening. It was kind of going on there in Fort Myers as well. All of that got ahead of what Cape Coral could sustain. So there is a lack of water in some areas of Cape Coral, meaning they ask you to only water your grass certain days of the week and for certain amounts of time. A couple years ago, they had a problem with trash. The trash company that picked up the trash, there was just nobody working. And I'm not talking about for a week, I'm talking about for months. It was a severe problem. Trash was piled up. People were being asked to bring their trash, literally put their trash bags in their car and bring it to a dump spot. Really problematic. There's also some other things going on in terms of infrastructure with Cape Coral that is just behind. It's the water especially. And I know there's going to be somebody out there that says,
well, I live on 123 Southwest 5th Avenue West, and I don't have any problem with water.
Okay, I believe you, but I'm talking about the area in general because that's how people will look at it if they're moving to Cape Coral. You want to know, should I be aware of these things? And you should be aware of these things. You should also be aware of sewer assessments and whether they're paid or not. You should be aware if you're looking in the Northwest Cape, if you're in an area that's going to have a mandated sewer assessment of $25,000, $35,000 that you didn't know about. So there's a lot of things in terms of like sewer and water and trash, things that you may consider the basics, but they're not quite caught up yet. And then the last reason, in my opinion, is the values. The values are coming down faster than they went up. It's not sustainable. They went up quickly, and a lot of people are moving now. A lot of people are at that 3-year mark, and it was not all they thought it was going to be, and now they can't sell their homes or they're taking a loss. So yes, there are a lot of homes to choose from in Cape Coral, but listen, choose wisely, and that's why I do these videos, so that you don't make a mistake. This is not because I hate Cape Coral. These are just facts that you should be aware of if you're looking in the area. So I hope you found that helpful. If I can do any more for you, you know where to find me, always down in the description box.